Hello, hello, hello. We are live.
Thank you.
Hello. Welcome back, our lovely viewers and those that are following us and those that are probably clicking in later. Welcome to Beyond the Sum of Our Parts. Today we gotta, like always, we try to dig deep into topics that, you know, help us and understand. This is my lovely friend Jordan
Hello, hello.
and our very special guest Evie. How are you?
Good.
All
Thank
right,
you for having
Jordan.
me.
What is today's topic about?
Today we are going to be leaning into the topic of prescription for change, navigating healthcare as a person of color, where we're going to be discussing about the healthcare experiences of people of color, whether that's from the professional or personal aspects of it. We're going to be diving into all of this. So if you're out there in the audience and you have some commentary that you want to comment, feel free to send us a message, chime in, all the good stuff. Interactive. All right.
All the good stuff. All the good stuff. The tidbits, the snarty derisions, all of those things. I'd love to hear
I don't know what that last thing was, but yes. Okay. Um, so, with that being said, we're going to kick it off with our first question. What challenges have you faced when trying to access quality health care? Like, have you ever felt that your concerns or your symptoms were dismissed or downplayed by a healthcare provider because of your race or ethnicity? You
I'm
can
gonna
start.
start this. Okay. Well, I personally haven't gone through it myself, but I definitely have loved ones that are close by me that have and are experiencing it currently. Um, and it's a bad feeling. It's tragic, and then me being the person I am is even harder to experience it for my loved one, and I can't really do anything about it because I'm not a
Right,
healthcare professional, but it's like you're going to seek some help for a problem and you can't get answers. So
right,
it's a challenge. It's hard.
right. So for them, it's them, is it a combination of them dismissing the symptoms, or is it just them not working hard enough to due diligence?
I think it's just, yeah, not doing the due diligence to figure out the root of the problem.
Right,
Um, it's a constant pain um, or issue that he's having, and it's going to the doctor, just getting prescribed pain pills and
right,
medicine, and that's not fixing the problem. It's just numbing the problem for a temporary fix.
right. And that's, I've experienced that a lot. When I was in the military, that was a big issue that we had in terms of medical care. Like, I don't know if it was just military wide or if it was just, where we were at the time, but same thing. We would go to the doctors. These are the symptoms we have, and everybody was given Advil. It didn't matter what it was, or ibuprofen. Didn't matter what it was, how bad it was, everybody got ibuprofen. If it was really bad, you got Motrin. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Um, so I definitely understand that experience. So how do you feel like your cultural background has influenced like your approach to healthcare? So having seen this happen with your loved ones, how do you feel like it makes you want to navigate the healthcare system?
Really, it's just to. I mean, it's the best thing I can say is like the worst thing is really like you wanting to find somebody, a person of color, to be the person to treat you because they'll
Right,
understand. They can relate. Whereas when you
right,
go to someone that is not a person of color and they're just dismissing you and they're just
right,
downplaying the symptoms, it's like the biggest thing is like, okay, well, let's find a black doctor. Let's find somebody who can
right,
relate. Um,
right,
and I mean that's the only thing that seems to be an answer that can get you your problem solved or anything like that.
right, right. I definitely understand that. So then with that, do you feel like going to another person of color would be the, and like, so even if they were in a regular hospital, if you were in a big hospital but your doctor was a person of color, you feel like that would automatically give you like a leg up or a,
I,
a
I would
higher
hope
level of
so.
care?
I would hope so.
Okay.
If anything, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it is true.
Right.
But you would hope it could be a little more, because at times, it's just the person who's inner, that type of person that they are as well. So sometimes it might not necessarily be that person of color. They might just be having a bad day and they don't want to treat you right just because they're,
Right.
not in that mind space to do that. So,
Right.
but that is the first option that we want to try to go to. That's for sure. But that doesn't
Right.
necessarily mean it's going to be the best option all the time either.
Right. So have you had experience like positive experiences with healthcare providers that were of a different color or ethnicity?
Me personally, yeah. I mean, I don't go to the doctor too often. Just get my annual checkups here and there. Um, but ever having an issue and getting some actual results, yes, I've had. I could say at least I've had one, where my, medical emergency wise, I had a condition way back when. Um, Even though it was a drastic solution, I had to have like brain surgery, but not brain surgery.
Okay.
Um, that was really ultimately like the only option. We did try to find another route, a holistic route. Of course, the person was not a person of color, but it turned out to be the only and best route to go through,
Right.
and it helped out. It did the job that it was supposed to do, so
Okay.
it
So
worked
it
out.
wasn't it's not all negative. There are
Yeah.
some positive experiences in there, but just recognizing that as a person of color, you would feel more comfortable having a person of color as your medical care provider.
Most of the time, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Mike, did you have any chime inable things?
I would say honestly, as a person of I working in the medical field for the many times that I have, I'm gonna say not all kinfolk, not everybody's kinfolk. Even when we
Mm,
think we feel more comfortable with people that may look like us, not all of them have our best interests at hand because it becomes a cliquish mentality. And
mm,
I'm not proud to say this, but I remember at times when I was in the medical field and I would see a person of color, and I'm like, "Yo, you got this. Your pain is. I know you're going through pain, but you're stronger. You can handle this." And that wasn't what they needed from me. A pep
mm,
talk on you, managing your pain because you're stronger. Because it's like, yo,
mm.
rather than basically treating them as a person
A
who's just in
person
pain,
in
I'm like,
pain.
yo,
Right.
you're a person of color. We've been through a lot.
Right.
Toughen
This
up.
is just something else you
Yeah,
can
Yeah.
work
yeah.
through.
And so, and it
You've
was
been you've been
in.
through so much. Just take another thing.
Yeah, you just take another
Yeah.
Yeah.
L. And I was taken back by that thought process when I started to like see it done. And then I was like, yo, and I'm thinking to myself, and I was like, yo, why did this happen to a person? Why did I say that? Why did I think like that?
Mm-hmm.
And it was like you got caught up into the system. And
Right.
sometimes that's how we see ourselves. We're not aware that, it's a cliquish mentality. It's like you like take on the persona of the facility and the business mindset of those around you, and you basically lose
Right.
yourself a little bit. And it's not justifiable, but it's it's not, but we do it anyways, and that's just not okay.
Yeah. So then, as a medical professional, do you feel like there's generally a trust gap between patients of color and healthcare providers?
I would say a little bit, because once again, it is like I said, it is not always all of us that are into that, that do that. But then, what I'm saying, those of us that do care, we do try our best, and it is very sad. Like I remember taking care of a patient. Um, it was it was kind of difficult to hear, but for, let's just say, the patient came into the hospital. They went to the hospital multiple times, and they just kept on sending them away with ANSs. They were pregnant and stuff. They just kept on sending them away. And then finally they make it to my floor, and at the time it was like it's a critical unit floor, and patient's condition had extremely worsened, and Needless to say, they lost a child.
Oh no.
Yeah, and rather than them basically take the time to understand that patient and do what they had to do to assess that patient, they just shooed them away with drugs and over the counter meds. And they came back multiple times. And it's like crazy thing is like we have records of people coming in. So it's like at some point you got to say, hold on, hey,
Right.
maybe there's something really wrong with this person.
Right.
Maybe there's something that needs to be done. And unfortunately, nothing was done. And the person, again, like I said, ended up losing the kid and they ended up going brain dead.
Wow.
Oh
The
wow.
patient themselves went
Yeah,
brain dead.
yeah. And it was
Oh my
like,
gosh.
and it's like really bad though. And it's like you see, and it's like I'm pretty sure anybody in the medical field has worked out. We've all seen, heard things of that nature, and it's really sad to see that. And she was a person of color, and I feel like had she not been one, they would have taken her things a lot more seriously rather than so drastic. And then the crazy thing is, so patient ends up being in the hospital for like several years, and
Oh wow.
I go back to visit this patient, and she's already brain dead. She's already lost a kid, and now for somehow, some way, she has a dislocated shoulder.
Hmm.
That's odd.
Yeah, and I'm just like, if they can't move, how did they dislocate their shoulder? And everyone says, I
Quality
don't
of
know.
care.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's like everyone's like, I don't know, I don't know. How do you not know? I need answers. I mean, this is not my family member, but I'll be damned. You know what I mean? And it was just things like that I saw, and it was just like, yo, it was very disheartening. It was very disconcerting for me. While I'm not saying like in a broad spectrum, everybody doesn't care, everybody's negative, but it's that mentality of that people of color have a different pain tolerance. It's that mentality that people of color can take on things a lot different than other people. When in reality, is hurt, pain is pain, a condition is a condition. You need to treat the person for their conditions and not your assumptions.
Right.
And in some